It is 3 in the morning and someone is lying awake, staring at the ceiling, running through every disaster that could strike tomorrow. The car breaking down, the laptop dying, the job disappearing, the surprise medical bill. You probably know this feeling, the racing mind, the tight chest, the quiet dread of being one bad day away from catastrophe. Now here's what almost nobody tells you. There is a single specific dollar amount that makes those 3 in the morning panic sessions disappear. It is not $1 million. It is not even 100,000. That number is $10,000. And the moment you cross it, something quietly changes, not in your bank account, but in your brain. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why $10,000 ends financial anxiety, and you will have one specific rule to get there, no matter how little you make right now. Welcome to Fin Finance, where we break down the financial decisions that make or break your future with honesty, real numbers, and zero fluff. Today we are talking about the $10,000 rule. Specifically, why this first milestone is the line between living in fear and living in control. This is the threshold that takes you off defense and finally puts you on offense with your money. It will not make you rich, but it will end the anxiety that keeps most people poor. Let us get into it. Let us start with the numbers because they explain the fear. 37% of Americans cannot cover an unexpected $400 expense without borrowing. Not 4,000, 400. 21% have $0 saved. None at all. This is why so many people lie awake at night. It is not weakness, it is math. When you have nothing saved, you genuinely are one bad day from disaster. Your fear is not irrational, it is accurate. But here is what changes everything. Neuroscientists have measured what happens to your body when you finally build a cash cushion. Financial security measurably lowers cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone. That means saving money does not just change your balance, it changes your blood chemistry. A study on emergency funds found that people with even a small savings buffer report dramatically better sleep and lower daily anxiety. And the threshold where this fully kicks in for most people is right around $10,000. Why $10,000? Because that is the amount that covers the vast majority of life's financial landmines. And the reason that specific number works is something almost nobody explains. So let me show you. To understand why $10,000 ends the fear, you first have to understand the trap that creates it. When you have no savings, you live your entire financial life on defense. Picture a soccer goalkeeper who can never leave the goal. Every single play, you are reacting, blocking, scrambling, bracing for the next shot. You never get to move forward because you are always defending against disaster. That is what zero savings does to your mind. Every decision becomes defensive. You take the first job offer because you cannot afford to wait for a better one. You keep the phone plan that overcharges you because switching feels risky. You say no to the certification that would raise your income because the upfront cost terrifies you. Every choice is filtered through fear, not strategy. And the entire consumer system is built to keep you trapped on defense. Buy now, pay later, minimum payments, subscriptions that auto-renew, zero down financing. Each one is engineered to drain the money before you can ever stack it. It is like trying to fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. You keep pouring water in, but it drains out before the bucket can ever get full. And as long as that bucket stays empty, the fear never goes away. You stay the goalkeeper, trapped in the goal, forever reacting. But the moment the bucket finally holds water, the moment you reach that first 10,000, the entire game changes. You stop playing defense. And what happens to your mind when you finally go on offense is the part nobody talks about. Here is the part most financial videos completely skip, and it is the most important part of this entire video. The $10,000 milestone barely changes how you spend. What it changes is how you think. Below 10,000, every dollar feels precious and scarce. Losing $50 feels like losing a piece of your survival. So you obsess over tiny decisions. Generic pasta or name brand? Pack a lunch or buy one? Premium gas or regular? You make these calculations 50 times a day, and every one drains a little mental energy. By the end of the day, you are exhausted. Not from work, but from fear. Psychologists call this decision fatigue, and poverty multiplies it. But watch what happens above $10,000. Suddenly, 90% of those daily money decisions become irrelevant. You stop choosing groceries based on fear and start choosing based on what you actually want. The mental energy that was locked up in survival math gets freed. And here is the strangest part. That free mental space is exactly what you need to start building real wealth. Think about it. You cannot plan a retirement account when you are panicking about rent. You cannot research investments when your mind is consumed by this month's bills. The fear itself is what keeps you poor, not the lack of income. I want you to picture two people. Both earn $40,000 a year. One has zero saved and lies awake at night. The other has $10,000 saved and sleeps soundly. Same income, same job, same paycheck. But one lives in fear and the other lives in control. The difference is not money. The difference is the buffer that lets the brain stop panicking and start planning. And here is what matters most. If you have been living on defense, that was never a personal failure. You were dropped into a system designed to keep your bucket empty and your mind afraid. You were playing the game exactly the way it was built to be played. But now you can see it. And I'm going to give you the exact rule to flip from defense to offense. But first, you need to see what staying on defense is actually costing you. Let us run the real numbers on what $10,000 actually protects you from, because the cost of not having it is brutal. Start with a car repair. Most major repairs cost between $500 and $3,000. With no savings, that repair goes on a credit card at 24% interest. A $2,000 repair paid off slowly can quietly become $3,000. Now add a medical surprise. Even a single emergency room visit can run $1,000 to $2,000 without great insurance. With no buffer, that becomes more debt, more interest, more fear. Now the big one, losing your job. With zero savings, you take the very first offer out of desperation, even if it pays less. $10,000 gives you roughly 3 to 6 months of breathing room. That breathing room is what lets you wait for the right job instead of grabbing the wrong one. And the difference between a desperate job and the right job can be $10,000 a year in salary, for years. Now here's the hidden cost almost nobody calculates. When you live on defense, you say no to opportunities that would have paid you back many times over. A certification costs $2,000, but raises your salary by $10,000 a year. On defense, you cannot afford it. On offense, it is obvious. A networking event costs $50, but leads to a connection that changes your career. On defense, $50 feels too risky. On offense, you go. Watch how this compounds. The person with no savings stays trapped, paying interest, missing opportunities, taking desperate jobs. The person with $10,000 saved pays no interest, seizes opportunities, and negotiates from strength. Over a decade, that gap is not $10,000. It is tens of thousands in avoided debt, higher salaries, and seized chances. Staying on defense feels safe, but it is quietly the most expensive position you can hold. And now I'm going to show you exactly how to get off defense. Quick question before we continue, and I genuinely want your answer. If money fear disappeared tomorrow, what is the one opportunity you would finally say yes to? Drop it in the comments. Sometimes just naming it out loud is the first step to chasing it. Starting this week. Here is the rule. Pay yourself first, automatically, before you spend a single dollar on anything else. Most people try to save whatever is left at the end of the month. There is never anything left. That is the trap. Winners flip it. They save first and spend what remains. Here is exactly how to set it up tonight. Open your banking app. Create a separate high-yield savings account, one you do not carry a card for. Set an automatic transfer for the day after each paycheck lands. Start with whatever is realistic, even $25 or $50. The amount matters far less than the automation. Because here is the secret almost nobody understands. The hardest part of saving $10,000 is not the money. It is becoming the kind of person who saves. And automation builds that identity for you, silently, without willpower. Your first $1,000 will feel brutal. Your second $1,000 will feel easier. By your fifth, it runs on autopilot. Now let us make it concrete. The average person spends over $3,000 a year on coffee, takeout, and convenience purchases. Redirect just 1/3 of that, about $80 a month, and add even a small automatic transfer on top, you reach $10,000 in under 3 years without dramatically changing your life. Speed it up by raising the transfer every time your income rises. Got a raise? Increase the automatic transfer the same day before lifestyle creep eats it. That is the entire system. No budgeting apps, no tracking every penny, no willpower required. Just one automatic transfer that quietly turns you from a defender into someone on offense. Imagine where you are 1 year from now. The check engine light comes on. You feel annoyed, not afraid. A surprise bill arrives. You pay it and move on. And for the first time in your life, you sleep through the night without that tight knot of money fear in your chest. That is what $10,000 actually buys. Not things. Peace. $10,000 will not make you rich, but it will end the anxiety that keeps most people trapped their entire lives. It is the line between defense and offense, between fear and control, between lying awake at 3 a.m. and finally sleeping through the night. Now you know exactly where the line is and exactly how to cross it. If this video changed the way you think about money, subscribe to FinFinance. We publish videos like this every single week. Real financial education, real numbers, and strategies that actually move your life forward. The next video is already on screen. We are breaking down the $20,000 rule, the threshold where saving stops being about safety and starts building real wealth. We will see you there.